Hey guys, how are you doing? I'm doing great. My name is Kelsey. Thank you so much for coming onto this channel. I'm gonna open this cute little package that I got from the book signing yesterday. So cute. Oh, it's a brownie. I think you guys might recognize this if you've been to the bookstore recently. Book cover. So today I want to talk to you guys about 10 actually good classics for actual beginners. So these are all books that if you are a beginner in the reading journey, this is books that's compatible with you and that you can find easy to read and won't be like too challenging, and they are real page turners. The first book that we're going to talk about today is The Picture of Dorian Gray. I recommend this book to anybody who's interested in reading. Fantastic book for new beginners, and it's not too long, so you can get through this one very quickly. Story of evil, debauchery, and scandal. Oscar Wilde's only novel tells of Dorian Gray, a beautiful yet corrupt man, when he wishes that a perfect portrait of himself would bear the signs of aging in its place. The picture becomes his hideous secret as it follows Dorian's own backyard spiral into cruelty and depravity. This is such an amazing read. Highly recommend. I read this one during October and absolutely loved it. Alright, the next read is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. I'll read you the blurb on the back. Published as a Shilling Shocker in 1886, Robert Louis Stevenson's dark psychological fantasy gave birth to the popular idea of the split personality. Set in hellish, fog-bound London, the story of outwardly respectable Dr. Jekyll who unleashes his deepest cruelties and most murderous instincts when he is transformed into sinister Edward Hyde. This is a gothic masterpiece and a chilling exploration of humanity's basest capacity for evil. This is a very short read. You will get through this. Highly recommend this one. Alright, the next book, I'm sure you guys have heard of this one before. It is an all-time favorite, and it is Dracula by Bram Stoker. This one is fantastic. A bit harder to get through in my opinion, but it's a fantastic read for beginners of those who are getting into classics. Earnest and naive solicitor Jonathan Harker travels to Transylvania to organize the estate of the infamous Count Dracula at his crumbling castle. Finding himself imprisoned, Harker experiences all manner of supernatural horrors until he eventually escapes to be reunited with his fiancée Mina. Meanwhile, in England, Mina's friend Lucy has been bitten and Mina herself is under threat from the Count as he attempts to quell his appetite for human blood. Arguably the most enduring Gothic novel of the 19th century, Bram Stoker's Dracula is as chilling today in its depiction of the vampire world and its exploration of Victorian values as it was at the time of publication. 5-star read. Alright, the next one is a very unique book. It's like nothing I've ever read before, and I highly recommend this one for you guys. It's Perfume by Patrick Susskind, and I'll read you the blurb on the back. Does this one have a blurb? Not really. This one doesn't have really a blurb on the back, but it's a fantastic read. It's very unique, nothing like I've ever read before, and it was interesting, so I highly recommend this one for beginners. It takes place in Paris, so there you go. Next one, we have the fantastic one and only Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Fantastic read. As you can tell, I love this one up. It has so many tabs on it. Mary Shelley's chilling Gothic tale was conceived when she was only 18. Only 18, can you believe that? Living with her lover Percy Shelley on Lake Geneva, The story of Victor Frankenstein, who plunders graveyards for the material to fashion a new being, but whose botched creature sets out to destroy his famous maker, would become the world's most famous work of horror fiction and remains a devastating exploration of the limits of human creativity. Based on the third edition of 1831, this volume contains all Mary Shelley's revisions to her story and also includes a fragment by Lord Byron and Dr. John Polidori's The Vampire, a Tale. Fantastic read. Highly recommend. 5 stars. Alright, and the next one we have, this is the reason why I picked this one, because as you can tell, it's very thin, very easy to get through, and it's Virginia Woolf, A Room of One's Own. This is a classic, and I only got it for £1.50 at the charity shop. Highly recommend this one, and Virginia Woolf's writing is fierce, energetic, and humorous. Alright, and the next read is Letters to a Young Poet. This is a great small little classic to get through by Rainer Maria Reich. This is like a poetry book, I would say. This is the poet Reich's lyrical and life-changing advice to an inspiring young writer. This poet, Reiki, is lyrical and life-changing. Highly recommend this one, and it's really small, so it's quite easy to get through, and I love it. It's just so deep, and it really makes you think about things like on a whole nother level, and it has some great like life advice in the book as well. Highly recommend this one. Okay, so the next book is the fabulous Carmilla by Sheridan J. Lafayette. Absolutely adore this one. I read this last summer and I devoured it. I have 2 copies actually. So I have this one, and then my annotated one is on the shelf there. Bought this one in France with my husband, and he hasn't read it himself, but this is such a fabulous edition because it has the side there. You see the spine? It's so beautiful. It doesn't have much in the front obviously, but the side, I just absolutely love the spine. It's just, I don't know, these colors are just like so pretty, and I like the reflective shine it has on the front cover. Alright, and the next one is a fantastic classic, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Bronte sisters, they are fantastic and so talented in their writing abilities, like the way they written things and just made things so like, and it's just so inspiring to see like how young girls of the 19th century could write with so much talent. Passionate, poetic, and revolutionary, Jane Eyre is a novel of naked emotional power. It's story of a defiant, fiercely intelligent woman who refuses to accept her appointed place in society and instead finds love on her own terms. Has become famous as one of the greatest romances ever written, but it is also a brooding Gothic mystery, a profound depiction of character, and a transformative work of imagination. I think that is like the most fantastic blurb I've ever read, don't you think? But yeah, this is Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte. Can't go wrong with this. It's a bit of a thicker book, so it takes a bit more time to get through, but if you haven't read this, please read it. Alright, and the last and final book that I have for you guys is, I have it in here and I don't want to take it out because I just made this bow look super cute. But if you can see it in the front, it's Little Women by Louisa Alcott. Fantastic winter read. I think it's most appropriate for this time of year, and it's a beautiful story. It'll capture your imagination, and the setting is beautiful, the writing is lovely. It's a book that's not for everybody, but I thought it was very, very wonderful and a great classic for beginners. So yeah, that is all the 10 classic recommendations that I have for you guys. A bonus one that I would give to you is Shakespeare. If you guys are not too familiar with Shakespeare, I highly recommend to get into it. The first classic that I got into Shakespeare is Romeo and Juliet. This is much easier to get through. Fantastic edition I found online. It's beautiful. And this one is just lovely to read for this time of year. I think you guys will absolutely love this one. I love Shakespeare, and I want to show you a new book that I actually got today. As You Like It, I've heard some good things about this book, and when I read the blurb on the back, I don't know, it just like really fascinated me. So I think this is gonna be a very, very fun read that I'm gonna get into this month. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the 10 classics that I shared with you guys. It was so much fun to film this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I just want to tell you guys to not give up on your art. If you are an artist of any shape or form, don't give up on it, because it will truly inspire somebody else. Don't be like putting too much pressure on yourself to read, you know? It's not a competition. It's not something that you're like aiming to read like 150 books a year. You can read one book a year or 100. It doesn't matter, just as long as you're enjoying this art of reading and devouring literature. I think is fantastic. My very first book that I bought was Utopia by Thomas More, and then the second book that actually got me into reading was Dracula by Bram Stoker, and those books have absolutely changed my life for the better. But anyway, that's my advice right there. I love you guys so much. Have a fantastic evening, morning, whatever time of the day it is for you.